If you're thinking about buying your first home in 2026, you need much more than just motivation. You need a strategy, because this market, it's smarter, tighter, and way more competitive than most people expect walking into. Interest rates, inventory, seller expectations, it's all shifting and all so fast. If you don't understand how to navigate it, you could ultimately lose before you even get started. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Jessica Arguello. I'm your Colorado real estate agent, helping buyers just like you, reaching out to me from this incredible platform every single day. If you're in need of my services, looking for a stellar agent and one who has firm negotiation skills, please utilize me as a resource. My info is down below. Let's get right into the video. Let's start out by really just understanding your why. Before you open up Zillow, before you go to one single showing, you need to get something very crystal clear on why you're buying. So really ideally finding your why. Is it stability? Are you tired of rent increasing every single year? Are you trying to build long-term wealth and equity? Or are you just feeling the pressure of everyone else and the pressure of the time you're in, the phase of life, and maybe even ultimately your age? Because here's what I'll explain to you from experience. Buyers who are clear on their why really do move faster, make stronger decisions, and they also don't second guess themselves midway during contract situations that come up, like inspection, appraisal issues, or just really ideally getting potentially buyer's remorse. Statistically, buyers like that are far less likely to fall out of escrow when they identify their why. 2026 is not just browsing, like the browsing type market where you want to just go out and look. If you hesitate too long, you will potentially miss opportunities. Clarity equals confidence, and confidence also wins deals. So understand having that plan is really just ultimately helping you position yourself stronger and really get to that end goal much sooner than if you don't have that kind of ideally in your head. Understanding your financial situation. So this is where most first-time buyers either potentially sets themselves up for success or unknowingly potentially could hold themselves back. You really do need to understand 3 core numbers during this process specific to your financial goals, plan, and well-being. You need to understand your credit score, your debt to income or your DTI, as well as your total available savings. Right now, successful first-time homebuyers and ones that are closing fall somewhere between the 620 to 740 credit range and have typical debt to ratio numbers under 45%. So you could potentially be higher, lower, but this is just overall on average. And let's also clear up a question I get far too often. You do not need 20% down, and there are a ton of loan products, ones that I've touched on in previous videos, specific to Colorado in 2026, allowing buyers to buy with little to no money, 5% down, and even in some cases less, which are videos I'll link right above here. The goal is not perfection, it's preparation and understanding what that looks like for you, your goals, and your life. Step number 3, ultimately getting pre-approved, not pre-qualified. There's a difference. This step is a non-negotiable for any buyer I take out looking. A pre-qualification is basically a conversation. A pre-approval is a verified, documented review of your finances. They both hold their weight very differently. And in today's market, there is a massive difference between the two. Sellers and, more importantly, listing agents who are listing the home for sale are scrutinizing offers harder than ever. What I'm seeing win right now, buyers who are fully pre-approved, sometimes even fully underwritten before they even submit an offer. This is what it ideally tells your seller is this deal is solid. The buyer's finances are in order, they have solid credit, and they are employed, which is your biggest question of them all. And statistically, pre-approved buyers are significantly more likely to close because we've already eliminated a lot of risk up front when it comes to their total buyer profile. Understand your budget, not just your mortgage payment, but your all-in budget. And I mean the budget that most lenders won't even tell you that you potentially qualify for. Here's the deal. Lenders will often approve you for far more than you're actually comfortable moving forward to month and prepared to pay for an ideal mortgage. You need to factor in a number of necessary costs and expectations that are not included in some of those estimates, like property taxes, home insurance, maintenance and repair. And a good rule is 1-to-2 ratio when it comes to your annual income for potentially saving for estimated costs around maintenance and repairs, as well as HOA fees and potentially transfer fees. Here's the truth. Buyers who max out their budget are usually the ones who potentially feel stressed within the first 6 to 12 months once they're in their home and have successfully closed. Give yourself grace in this scenario. So understand that even if you're pre-approved for $500,000, let your lender as well as your agent know, although that allows me some wiggle room, you're only comfortable moving forward with a purchase price of say $400,000, because that's what you're really not willing to budge when it comes to not uprooting your lifestyle. Maybe you like to eat out a lot, or you like to hit the clubs. Understand that there's so many moving parts to that, and you really just have to be honest with your lender as well as your agent during this process because of that. Step number 5, hire the right realtor. I see this far too often. This step will ultimately make or break your experience, and I'm speaking from experience myself. Quick little rundown. Me and my husband, when we first tried to buy, our agent went rogue on us and completely ghosted us, and she was a family friend. She was great to everyone else, and for whatever reason, she kind of just left us on red. We did not feel prepared, and we ultimately waited an additional, I want to say 2 to 3 years, when we were originally ready far sooner than that, and it was all because we just felt like we weren't in good hands. Find a good agent. If you're in Colorado, I'd love to help, but do your research. Look on homes.com. How many closings have they had? Are they a good, reputable agent? Do they have good reviews? Not all the glamour, not all the followers on Instagram, none of these things really matter, but finding someone who understands the contract, can direct you, guide you, and advise you during this is what you really want, and that's kind of it. Not all agents operate at the same level, especially in a competitive market like we're seeing in 2026. One of the biggest misconceptions is that agents just open doors. The reality, a strong agent is not only going to be strategic, but a strong negotiator, as well as a problem solver when it comes to contracting on your home all the way until closing on it. When things get competitive, and they will, that's when you understand who you're working with matters, and that's ultimately how you get into the home of your dreams. Step number 6, the home search. Strategically, this is the fun part, but also where a lot of buyers lose focus. You need to go into your home search with a clear filter. Location comes first. This drives long-term appreciation, as well as home base, where you plan on living. Some structural elements of a home cannot be messed with or moved, but understand if you don't like the cabinets, that's something cosmetically that you could potentially shift or change once you go under contract or close on that home. Also understand future resale value, even if you think this is your forever home. This happens far more than you may think, because here's what real data shows over time. Homes that are in strong locations consistently outperform buyers that just look nicer and are potentially in weaker areas or not the best suburb part of town. Also be prepared that your first offer may not get accepted, and this is totally normal. The goal is not perfection, which is something I consistently say throughout this video. It's really ideally finding the right opportunity and being ready when that home shows up, which brings me to step number 7, making a competitive offer. This is where strategy really comes into play, and having a strong agent on your side is just so important. In 2026, winning offers are not always the highest offer. They're the cleanest and potentially the most appealing. So they have clean dates, precise understanding of when items will be performed, as well as a common mutual agreement between seller as well as buyer. We're seeing flexible closing timelines, strong earnest money deposits, and strategic use of concessions. So instead of just increasing price, they're seeing a lot of movement and leverage when it comes to that piece. Clean terms with unnecessary contingencies kind of taken away. So very clean, straight to the point, but one that's also understanding of the seller's big issues or big wants in an offer when it comes to a reduced risk for the potential seller. So that's ultimately how you win. That's also how my buyer won this past weekend when going under contract. We were up against a total of 5 offers, and we came in with clean dates, understanding of what was needed from the seller. They ultimately wanted to stay in their home for an additional 30 days post-closing, and we were able to contract on that home and sweeping out 4 other offers. So it was my buyers were super happy, and it all kind of just worked out. Step number 8, understanding inspection as well as appraisal. So once you're under contract, we are not at the closing table yet and we are not done. This is where the deal can ultimately either fall apart or stay together. Before we get to the closing table, we have two major checkpoints. We have inspection, so understanding the true condition of the home, inner workings, lifespan of certain appliances, as well as appraisal. This ideally confirms the value of the price matches the purchase price, so you aren't upside down. This is where I coach my buyers, and do not get caught up in every small issue. Every home will have something. Focus on the big ticket items like roof, HVAC, electrical, maybe sewer line, specific in Colorado. Statistically, a large percentage of deals fall apart during this phase. But understand, as buyers, we cannot react emotionally. We have to react strategically. So let's keep it together, game face on, and let's figure out what the seller is willing to correct. Step 9, you've made it to the finish line, but this is the part that really matters more than ever, and many buyers do not understand how big of an impact these things can do. Before closing, do not open any new lines of credit or make any large purchases whatsoever. Keep your income and your employment stable, continue working the same hours, try not to reduce any type of paycheck reductions, as well as reviewing your closing disclosure, your CD, carefully so there are no surprises come closing. Once you've closed on your home and you are in it, make sure you set aside an emergency fund. And this really helps homeowners not feel surprised when spring comes up, or maybe some appliance needs a little bit of TLC. Start thinking about long-term equity growth and appreciation and potentially future opportunities, because the real goal here is not just about getting the keys, but understand how home ownership can really ideally shift your whole mindset for continued long-term generational wealth. It's huge, and I'm so excited for you. Please understand that these 9 steps really do help my clients get into a home and get to that end goal. It's not just a milestone, but it's a strategy, and we have to prepare ourselves for it. Because buyers who win in this market are not just lucky, but they come prepared and have a plan. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Understand, I'm not only here to help give you all of this information, but I want to be a resource for you. So if you're looking for a real estate agent to kind of help you during this next phase, kind of assist you as you buy your first home, I would love to be of service to you. Reach out, my information's down below. And if you're here as well, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will catch you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.